Discover the 3 miraculous spiritual truths divinely revealed in this blockbuster film experience. In the heart of a quaint English village, a humble schoolteacher named Mary stood as a pillar of faith and devotion. Known for her unwavering belief in the power of prayer, she would gather her students each morning, their innocent voices rising in unison, calling upon St. Jude, the patron saint of lost causes, to bless their little lives. A murmuring wind danced through the old stone church, where flickering candles cast warm shadows, enveloping them in a sacred glow. It felt as if heaven itself brushed the earth in that sanctuary, infusing every heart with hope, until the world tilted beneath Mary's feet. Then came the shattering news. Her beloved mother, the very cornerstone of her faith, was battling a relentless illness. Doctors whispered in worried tones of impending loss, and the darkness crept into Mary's heart, threatening to suffocate her once steadfast belief. The shadows of skepticism clawed at her soul as she questioned whether her faithful prayers had ever really mattered. Was the faith she imparted to her students nothing more than a fragile facade, crumbling before the harsh truths of life? In her desperation, she organized a community prayer vigil in the old church, a sacred space that had watched over generations. Villagers filled the pews, their faces illuminated by candlelight, eyes glimmering with fervent hope. As the congregation united in their prayers, the very air became electric. Words flowed like honey, and the scent of incense hung like a mysterious veil. Collective energy swirled, but inside Mary, a tempest raged. She felt the weight of unanswered prayers like stones lodged in her heart. Could faith really move mountains, or was it just an illusion for the hopeful? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Desperate for solace, Mary embarked on an unexpected pilgrimage to a nearby sanctuary renowned for miraculous healings. Each step on the tranquil paths was solemn, the ground beneath her feet cool and inviting. Statues of saints watched over her, their expressions gentle and guiding. Whispering leaves danced in an unseen breeze as she longed for clarity. Was she moving toward a deeper faith or merely deeper into doubt? With each prayer uttered at the foot of St. Jude's statue, tears coursed down Mary's cheeks. Hope flickered like the candles behind her, fragile yet audacious. Just when despair began to settle in like a shadow, news rippled through her heart. Her mother's condition was showing subtle signs of improvement. Conversations filled with disbelief and excitement washed over the village. What was happening? Was it a mere coincidence, or had the fervent prayers kindled a flame of divine intervention? The day arrived when everyone witnessed the miracle, an unprecedented moment where science fell silent and the heavens rejoiced. Mary's mother's laughter filled the air, a sound that felt like heaven weaving through the mundane. Miracles drew them closer, igniting newfound faith that transcended understanding. Yet, amidst the joy, uncertainties lingered in Mary's heart. Was this extraordinary healing simply happenstance, or a tangible testament of faith? As the villagers gathered around Marian to celebrate, her heart swelled with joy and trepidation. The greatest miracle, perhaps, was yet to come, the ongoing journey between faith and doubt, hope and despair. What did it mean to truly believe when the next storm loomed on the horizon? In the days that followed, the village was alive with a sense of wonder. The air was thick with whispers of hope, each conversation laced with excitement about Mary's mother's unexpected recovery. Church bells rang out with joy, echoing through the cobbled streets, and the townsfolk embraced one another with warmth, drawn together by their shared faith. But beneath the surface of this jubilation, Mary wrestled with a growing anxiety. Her heart, once filled with boundless devotion, now harbored doubts that clouded her spirit. What if this miracle was fleeting? What if tomorrow brought new shadows, eclipsing today's light? She couldn't shake the apprehension that wrapped around her like a heavy cloak. She returned to her classroom with a smile, Yet inside, her mind spiraled. Her students greeted her with laughter and joy, their innocent enthusiasm a stark contrast to her trepidation. They chattered about their dreams and hopes, voices bubbling with possibility. Mary listened, nodding, feeling the warmth of their spirits. But still, she questioned her own faith. Was it strong enough to endure the trials that lay ahead? Determined not to break, she began to delve deeper into the scriptures, searching for guidance and wisdom. The words danced across her mind, filled with promises and comfort like a balm to her aching heart. She stumbled upon stories of trials and tribulations that refined faith tales of those tested by fire, and yet emerged as gold. With each line, she found a flicker of her old fervor returning. That Sunday, Mary returned to the church, where flickering candles cast their soft light once more. As she sat amongst the villagers, she felt the familiar communion in the air. It embraced her, even as her doubts lingered like shadows. It was during the service, surrounded by kindred spirits, that she heard the pastor speak the words that echoed through the sanctuary. Miracles are not just the absence of pain but the presence of grace. Those words landed like a gentle rain on her parched soul. Mary realized then that her faith was not merely about receiving what she desired but about embracing the entire journey, doubts included. Perhaps miracles were as much about the process about the love and hope that blossomed in the struggles. That as the congregation sang their final hymn, Mary felt a surge of warmth within her chest. She raised her hands, singing along, thoughts drifting to her mother's laughter, the cheers of the villagers, and the light that infused their lives. Could it be? Could her faith transform not just her understanding but her entire existence? With eyes closed, she silently poured out her heart to St. Jude once more, a prayer of gratitude for the healing, and a request for steadfastness as life continued to unravel. It was then she sensed a subtle shift in the air. It was electric, alive with possibility. Mary opened her eyes and scanned the room. There was something extraordinary glimmering in each face, a shared experience of divine connection. The atmosphere thickened, and in that moment, she understood what she must do next. The true journey of faith wasn't just about personal trials but beckoning others to join in this sacred dance. As she prepared to step forward, her heart racing with the excitement of a new calling, she felt the stirring of something deeper yet unarticulated. What would become of her newfound clarity? What would her next steps symbolize for herself and for the village she loved? The path ahead shimmered with the promise of revelation. Little did she know, the next chapter of her spiritual journey was just beginning. As the last notes of the hymn faded into the sanctuary's walls, Mary's heart raced with a mix of anticipation and fear. She felt a pull within her, a calling that vibrated through her very bones. The congregation was still, a sea of faces reflecting their own silent prayers. Here, this community thrived on faith and mutual encouragement, a sacred tapestry woven of shared journeys and divine encounters. Mary stood slowly, hesitantly, fingers trembling against the polished wood of the pew. She caught the eye of a young boy, Eli, his face aglow with innocence. His smile whispered a promise of youthful hope, igniting her spirit with renewed courage. She took a step forward. Dear friends, her voice emerged softly, yet she felt the strength behind her words grow. We have witnessed a miracle in our midst. A responsive murmur rolled through the crowd, like the gentle tide of the sea. Not only with my mother's healing but in this very moment the grace that binds us together. As she spoke, a divine clarity washed over her. The weight of her doubts began to lift, making way for a radiant conviction. She glanced around the room, hearts lifted, hands clasped in prayer, eyes glistening with tears of faith. Let us remember that together, we can carry each other's burdens, rejoice in our joys, and face our fears. We are never alone on this journey. The pastor watched, an approving nod granting her strength as his eyes sparkled with encouragement. Mary was unearthing something deep within, a truth intertwined with the fabric of their existence. They were vessels of faith, called to shine light into the dark corners of despair. I urge you all, let us not just cherish the miracle. Let us share it. The words flowed like a river breaking free from a dam. Let us seek those who feel lost, support those who suffer, and bring love to the weary souls in our village. For every miracle is a call to action. The congregation swelled with energy, faces brightening with her declaration. Shouts of agreement echoed through the old building, breaking the silence of contemplation with bursts of sincerity. Mary felt the spark within her ignite into a blazing fire. Her spirit surged alongside the unity of her people. As they united their voices in prayer, a deep realization took root. Each individual carried their trials, but together, they embodied an unbreakable force. She prayed silently that this newfound understanding would guide her and all of them toward greater works. Yet even amidst this surge of hope, a whisper of concern lingered. Could their unity withstand the trials ahead? Would their faith hold if storms raged once more? Doubts, though quieter now, still threatened to resurface. As the congregation linked hands, she took a deep breath, focusing only on the flickering light of hope. Let us commit to this journey together, Mary declared resolutely. Let us be the miracles that others need. The air thrummed with approval. The passion of faith pulsed through the sacred space. In that moment, she realized her role was not to be a mere witness of grace, but a bold messenger, illuminating the path for others. But as she stood there, basking in the warmth of their shared joy, a single thought crept into her mind: what lay waiting beyond this newfound path? Would the trials she feared come to test their unity? Would love and faith withstand the test of time? With those questions stirring in her heart, Mary stepped back, feeling a swell of anticipation for what the Lord had in store. The journey had only just begun, and ahead of her was the uncertainty of the future. What would she discover in the days to come? How would wisdom weave itself into the tapestry of her life and the village she cherished? A divine mystery lingered, and Mary felt it beckoning. What revelations awaited, uprooting faith and leading them into deeper waters? She was eager to find out. Mary stood still, the energy of her declaration pulsing in the air, like a heartbeat in the stillness. She could feel the warmth of the congregation surrounding her, their united spirits lifting her even higher. There was magic in the moment, a fragile thread of connection that sparked the air with the promise of change. As prayer enveloped the gathering, thoughts of purpose filled her mind. How could they take this miraculous encounter and translate it into action? She remembered the sorrow she had seen in the faces of her neighbors, the worried expressions of families struggling, the weariness in the eyes of the elderly. She felt a twinge of urgency to ignite a flame in their hearts. Let us step outside our comfort zone, Mary called out, her voice rising with newfound passion. We must become the light for others, illuminating dark paths with love. A wave of murmurs followed her words, a ripple of excitement coursing through the room. People shifted in their seats, glancing at one another with rekindled determination. The pastor stood tall, his gaze steady and proud, affirming her energy with a nod. It was as if all at once, each person felt the call to action, a collective awakening. As the prayer session drew to a close, Mary watched as hands entwined tighter, the strength of unity palpable in the air. She sensed the deepening resolve within her community. They were not merely observers of faith but players in a divine story still being written. With the final amen, a gentle hush settled respectfully over the congregation. Yet, Mary felt restless. She wanted to cultivate a tangible connection, a way for the miracle they had witnessed to continue beyond this sacred space. Friends, she proclaimed, gesturing for attention, let us weave our stories together. Let us craft a tapestry of kindness that can uplift our entire village. Simple acts of love, of compassion, can flourish into a garden of hope. The pastor stepped forward, his eyes sparkling. Mary speaks truth. Every little gesture counts. Whether offering a meal, listening to a lonely neighbor, or helping a child with their homework, each step radiates goddess love. An enthusiastic wave of agreement surged through the congregation. Murmurs turned into chatter as families exchanged ideas, forms of outreach they could undertake, ways they could show love practically. Hope began to crystallize as they imagined their role in the divine plan unfolding before them. But deep inside, Mary felt a stirring suspicion. Would they carry this momentum once the exhilaration faded? Would doubt creep back like shadows, drowning out their collective resolve? The pastor caught her eye, sensing her inner turmoil. He walked closer and spoke gently. "Mary, remember, faith is a journey. There may be trials, but together, fortified by love and purpose, we can overcome, like David facing Goliath." His words ignited something within her, a strengthening of spirit. She nodded, hopeful but mindful of the challenges ahead. Outside the sanctuary, the afternoon sun washed over the village, and the air buzzed with anticipation of what lay ahead. The sky spread wide, filled with infinite possibilities. As families began to disperse, laughing and full of purpose, Mary felt a tug inside her, the yearning to explore beyond her present understanding, to dig deeper into this shared mission. Walking home, she pondered anew the questions that awaited answers. A sense of divine adventure loomed just beyond the horizon. What encounters would they have? How would their outreach transform lives? Perhaps their own in ways they had yet to comprehend. With every step, she felt closer to the heart of what God intended for them. Little did she know that the road ahead would offer more than kindness and community. It would manifest faith in ways they had never imagined. What miracles lurked in the heart of their collective journey? What truths awaited discovery, reshaping their understanding of love and faith altogether? Mary stepped into her home, hearts and hopes still dancing in her mind. The sunlight streamed through the windows, filling the room with a warm glow. She embraced the light as it poured over her shoulders, wrapping her in a comforting embrace. This was not just a day of reflection. It was a threshold into something new. In the quiet of her living room, the chatter from the congregation faded, leaving only the gentle rustle of the leaves outside. Each leaf whispered promise, stirring her thoughts as they fluttered in rhythm with her heartbeat. She took a seat by the window, unable to shake the sense that a great adventure awaited her and her community. That night, sleep came slowly, wrapped in her ambitions and worries. Her dreams were vivid, filled with faces smiling children, an elderly man with a weary smile, and families sharing laughter around a dinner table. Each scene felt real, a glimpse into a shared journey yet to unfurl. When morning broke, the sun flooded her room, like God's gentle encouragement. With a fresh resolve, Mary envisioned a simple act: the community meal. It wasn't just about feeding the body. It was about nourishing spirits, connecting people in a profound way. She felt her heart resonate with energy, alive with possibility. A tea breakfast. Mary shared her vision with her family, excitement bubbling over her words. What if we opened our home for a community meal? Everyone's welcome. It can be a place for sharing, learning, and love. Her family's faces lit up, their initial surprise quickly morphing into shared enthusiasm. Her husband, John, had always been her partner in hope. "That's a beautiful idea, Mary. Let us start with our neighbors." Their children chimed in, eager to be part of this mission. Ideas flowed: homemade recipes, decorations, and a way to welcome each person with warmth and laughter. Days passed in a joyful whirlwind of preparations. As Mary and her family worked, they noticed moments that made their hearts swell: a neighbor offering to help set the table, another bringing fresh flowers from her garden, and children laughing as they created decorations with bright colors. Each little act stitched the fabric of community closer together. On the night of the meal, Mary's heart raced with anticipation. The aroma of food filled the air, and the tables overflowed with colors, inviting everyone to come together. As guests began to arrive, the sounds of chatter and laughter blended into a symphony of togetherness. "Welcome. We're so glad you're here." Mary greeted each person, her voice warm and inviting. She watched as new friendships ignited, and the energy of kindness wrapped around them like a holy blanket. Yet amid the joy, a tiny whisper in her heart stirred restlessly. Could this truly be a lasting change? Would they take with them the spirit of love they were creating here? As the meal progressed, anecdotes were shared, laughter rang, and tears flowed. A moment came when an elderly woman, fragile yet radiant, rose to speak. "I've lived in this village for over 50 years, but tonight, I feel reborn. Your kindness opens my heart anew. Thank you for reminding me that we are never alone." Mary's heart swelled at her words. They formed a collective memory, a point of connection. This was what she yearned for, a simple act of love blooming into something so much larger. But as the guests slowly began to leave, shadows of uncertainty wrapped around Mary again. Had they truly made a difference? Would this spark continue to glow in their hearts? Just then, she noticed children gathered at a corner, glancing at the leftover food, their eyes shining. They were whispering, plotting their plans for future gatherings. A smile broke across Mary's face. Perhaps the change was already beginning. The question lingered in the air, pregnant with hope and resolve. What would the next steps look like in their adventure? Would they kindle the spirit of kindness even further? Mary took a deep breath, allowing the divine possibilities to wash over her. The journey was just beginning, and she felt the presence of something extraordinary unfurling along their path. The dawn of a new day found Mary enveloped in a feeling she struggled to name. Awe? Joy? Perhaps it was simply gratitude blossoming within her. As sunlight streamed through the window, she turned to her family gathered at the breakfast table. Their eyes still had the glimmer of the previous night's warmth, a shared experience that had awakened a kindred spirit in them all. "Do you feel it?" she asked her family, her voice soft yet steady. "What we created together, there's something sacred about it." John nodded, a knowing smile gracing his lips. "Yes, it's like a ripple in the water, I senti it. We've sparked something that can grow." The children, busy spreading butter on their toast, nodded eagerly. They were still buzzing from the thrill of their first community gathering, each one buzzing with explorative ideas. "Can we do it every month?" Little Sarah's voice chimed, filled with the innocence of hope. Her brother stood tall, chiding, "Or maybe every week." "Well, love, we need to consider how to help everyone feel involved," Mary replied, realizing the responsibility that lay ahead. What began as a simple meal had turned into something bigger, thrusting them into the heart of their community. As they discussed, Mary felt a calling and urge to unite not just through food, but through sharing stories, talents, and friendships. "We could offer classes and workshops. Imagine all the skill sharing," she exclaimed, her heart racing with excitement. United in purpose, her family began brainstorming. What if they organized a night for storytelling? Or music? The ideas flowed like an open tap, cascading beyond mere thoughts into sacred aspirations. The days rolled on, and as Mary wandered through the village, she observed beauty. Neighbors carried groceries, spoke kindly to one another, and laughter echoed from the playground filled with children. Through her lens, every encounter felt inspired, an everyday miracle that hinted at more to come. Mary felt a shift each time she crossed paths with familiar faces. She smiled deeper and greeted with more warmth. Spontaneity became her ally. An elderly couple invited her over for tea, and she said yes. A stranger at the grocery store shared a faith-laden word with her that felt like a timely messenger of hope that it was here, amid simple exchanges, that Mary recognized the first miraculous truth: connection begets connection, weaving community like a tapestry of faith and support. Each moment treated tenderly held potential for something sacred. Determined to solidify this newfound energy, she organized a gathering at the park. Excitement crescendoed as they invited everyone, young and old, new faces alongside familiar ones. Days blended into a whirlwind of preparations, enveloping the village in anticipation. The evening of the park gathering arrived, and when the sun dipped low on the horizon, a warm glow enveloped the awaiting crowds. Lanterns lit up the trees like stars come to earth, and as families arrived, the air buzzed with excitement and possibility. Mary stood at the entrance, heart fluttering. She saw children laughing, adults sharing stories, and elders walking with grace. They had come not just for food but for fellowship, each person glowing with a healed spirit, held together by love. As the sky turned to indigo, Mary felt a gentle wind brush against her. It stirred something deep within, a stirring she knew was divine. She took a deep breath, her eyes scanning the faces around her, recognizing the second miraculous truth: love, when shared, transcends barriers, creating bonds that know no limits. Then, as she began to step forward, a hush fell over the gathering. An elderly man, whom Mary hadn't met before, approached the microphone. His hands trembled slightly before he cleared his throat. "I haven't felt a community like this in a long time," he began, his voice trembling with emotion. Was this not the moment for the third miraculous truth? With hearts beating in harmony, would they witness a divine revelation? What was about to unfold in this sacred gathering surrounding her? Mary stood, captivated, waiting for the extraordinary to unveil itself. The elderly man's voice echoed softly in the twilight air, his words wrapping around the crowd like a warm blanket. In these times, it's rare to find a place where hearts are open, where kindness flows freely. There was a ripple among the attendees, an electrical charge of anticipation coursing through their veins. Mary felt her heart quicken. This was the moment that could reshape their community even further. Members of the crowd leaned closer, eager to hear the stories they had brought with them. She felt the unity in the air, a palpable warmth that surged from one person to the next. It was as if their collective hope danced in the strands of golden light filtering through the branches above. "I lost my wife last year," the man continued, his voice growing stronger. "I fell into sadness, into silence. But tonight," he paused, searching the crowd with eyes glimmering like stars. "Tonight, I feel loved again, like I'm part of something. That's a gift I didn't think I'd ever receive." Tears misted Mary's eyes, the fragility of that sentiment striking her like a bell. She noticed the nods of understanding within the gathering. Others had experienced the weight of loneliness too. As their eyes met the old man's, something shifted. Walls began to crumble, and hearts broke open, embracing the sweet nectar of shared life. "We can carry this light," a voice from the back called out, bright and youthful. It was Sarah, her little hands raised, passion lighting her features. "Let us tell stories. Let us sing. Let us share our lives." A buzz of agreement showered the air. Mary felt the third miraculous truth unfurl, a simple idea, yet profound. It was clear, through storytelling, through song, through shared narratives of losses and victories, they could weave an even stronger bond. It wasn't merely a gathering. It was a movement, a conscious awakening to love and connection. The elderly man beamed, inspired by the children's enthusiasm. "Yes, together we can revive this community." His voice grew steadier, empowered by their responses. The crowd erupted into applause, hearts dancing to a shared rhythm of hope. Mary stepped forth, excitement bubbling within her. "Why don't we start right now? Let us share a story." A wave of agreement swept across the gathering, each face lit with anticipation. People scrambled to find seats, while children squeezed alongside their parents, eager to listen to an elder. Her white hair shimmering like silver in the lantern's glow, stood up in a gentle manner. "I remember a time long ago," her words fluttered like autumn leaves, capturing the spirits of all who listened. Around her, the air thickened with unity and warmth, as each story created a thread, binding them closer as the night deepened. One story ignited another. Laughter melted into poignant moments of silence, and collective memories wove a visible tapestry in the shimmering dark. The air swirled with a sense of belonging that every soul craved, and Mary realized how the smallest gestures, the simplest words, the purest laughter created ripples of divine manifestation. Gratitude filled her heart. She glanced around, soaking in the joyful chaos. But as she prepared to guide the next person to share, a strange shadow flickered across her awareness, a tug on her spirit that whispered of an uncharted path. Could there be something even greater waiting under the surface of this gathering? Was there a deeper truth, a hidden treasure, waiting to be unearthed in their shared journey? Eyes sparkling with wonder, Mary felt the stirrings of divine mystery, and in that moment, she knew the night was only beginning to unfold. What awaited them in the next chapter of their story? The moon hung like a watchful eye in the sky, casting silvery beams that danced across the faces in the circle. There was a sense of expectation in the air, a vibration that felt sacred. As stories flowed, the feelings of connection deepened, each tale a thread forming a stronger cloth of community. Mary looked at the elder, her heart swelling as the woman continued with her memories. weaving moments filled with joy and sorrow. "We had a garden," she reminisced softly, her voice a gentle stream. "It was filled with flowers of every kind. We grew them not just for ourselves, but to share with others, to spread beauty." Later, when the storms came, we learned that the greatest blooms often rise from the harshest winds. Her words rippled through the crowd, resonating with shared experiences of loss and renewal. The air thickened with the fragrance of hope, and Mary sensed the energy shift, becoming charged with the weight of collective yearning. She could almost see petals unfurling, revealing vibrant colors beneath their protective layers. From the back, another voice broke through the reverie. It was Ethan, a teenager whose face glowed with newfound confidence. "I want to share something too." He stepped forward, eyes bright, almost aflame with excitement. "This community, it turned my life around. I once felt invisible, lost in my own story. But now, I see our stories are intertwined, like roots beneath the earth. We grow stronger together." The crowd erupted in warmth, a chorus of supportive murmurs wrapping around him like a cocoon. Mary felt it, the shift, the spirit stirring. As Ethan spoke, she understood that each voice held power, capable of healing not just individual wounds, but the community itself. "I've lost my way," Ethan continued, a tremor in his voice. "But when we gather like this, sharing and caring, I find my way back to hope." He beamed, and in that moment, it became clear. They were all pieces of a magnificent mosaic, crafted by the hands of grace. Mary was flooded with awe, sensing the presence of something divine among them. This was more than a simple gathering. This was a sacred space where burdens could be laid down, where love could flourish. As the stories continued, not just of loss, but of dreams chased and victories gained, she felt each narrative intertwining with her own. The laughter, the tears, they healed cracks within her heart she hadn't even known were there. And then a hush fell over the crowd. An elderly woman, usually quiet, stood to speak. Her eyes glistened with wisdom. What if she beckoned softly? What if through our stories, we could uncover a greater purpose? What if tonight isn't just about sharing the past, but about stepping into a new future? This profound thought hovered in the air, draping the gathering in sacred anticipation. Everyone leaned in closer, sensing a shift about to happen, as if a hidden door in the fabric of their shared reality was ready to open. Mary felt the tug of the divine mystery again, the echo of something monumental just within reach. It was clear their stories had begun to craft not just memories but a path towards transformation. "Can we dare to ask for more?" she thought, her heart pounding in that sacred silence. She reverberated with the question everyone felt. Was it possible to step beyond personal narratives? Could their gathering lead to divine revelation? And in the stillness, poised on the edge of a whisper, Mary sensed that something miraculous awaited them just beyond the horizon of the night. What truths might emerge when they dared to dream together? The night, rich with promise, held secrets yet to unfold. As the words of the elder hung in the air, a soft breeze rustled through the trees, creating a gentle symphony that seemed to validate the questions posed. Mary took a deep breath, feeling a warmth envelop her, as if the very essence of the gathering was being lifted to the heavens. Ethan looked around, his face brimming with eagerness. "I believe we can find that purpose. I feel it," he exclaimed, and there was a vibrant energy in his voice that electrified the group. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, voices mingled with hope, creating a melody of faith. One by one, others began to share their thoughts, building upon Ethan's spark. Sarah, a young mother, spoke earnestly. "I've spent years searching for something more, something beyond just getting by. When I see all of you, I feel a community that can lift each other up. We're not alone." The crowd nodded, affirming her sentiment. Mary felt a tidal wave of unity wash over them, filling the spaces between hearts with love and anticipation. With every voice, they ventured deeper into the truth of their collective yearning, drawing closer to the divine purpose hidden within their souls. Then, suddenly, a child's laughter pierced the wrap of solemnness. It was little Noah, racing through the circle, his joy a splash of color against the canvas of night. He stumbled and fell, but as he landed, laughter bubbled from him like a spring from the earth. Mary could see the spark of innocence radiating from him, a reminder that even in struggles, joy finds a way to break free. See, Noah beamed, his small face lighting up the dimness. We just need to keep trying. His words struck a chord, reverberating in Mary's heart. The room filled with laughter, the kind that uplifts and heals, tying them even closer as a community. Just as the elder had suggested, in that moment, Mary felt the atmosphere thicken with expectation. The divine whispers hovered around them, urging them to seek and embrace their shared purpose. What if this is our moment to rise? She thought, her heart leaning into the budding possibility that as they circled inward, the moon now fully bathed them in its light, casting an ethereal glow over the gathering. It was as if each person stood under a cascade of heavenly grace, glowing, transformed by the simple act of coming together. "Let us pray together," whispered the elder, her voice gentle yet commanding. The crowd responded instinctively, words flowing forth like a river, hearts mingling with one another. In that sacred prayer, requests turned into offerings, and their vulnerability crystallized into strength. "Lord, guide us in our search for purpose," they echoed, voices interweaving in an unbreakable tapestry of faith. With each heartfelt word, they reached higher, grasping for the possibility that their experiences could give birth to greater understanding and transformation. Yet, as silence enveloped them once more, Mary felt a stirring in her spirit. But what if, she thought, her imagination igniting, what if we could uncover a truth that would change not just our lives but those beyond this night? Could we manifest something entirely new? The air seemed to thrum as they awaited the dawn of revelation. Each person there was a vessel, filled with potential and purpose, yearning for the sacred threads of their lives to reveal a divine story yet untold. As the moon began to dip, its watchful eye gliding toward the horizon, Mary sensed the true depth of the night's calling. What divine truths awaited discovery? What new chapters were ready to be written together in the light of hope? The night held its breath, and so did they, poised on the brink of divine anticipation. As the night deepened, Mary felt the collective breath of her community, waiting for a miracle to unfold. The moon cast its silver light over them, a sign of divine presence. In that moment of stillness, she sensed a heartbeat, a rhythm that pulsed within their gathered souls. Could they truly step beyond their individual narratives and weave something extraordinary? With that thought, Mary gathered her courage. She stepped forward, feeling the warmth of support from the congregation, and spoke with fervor. What if tonight is not just about sharing our stories, but igniting the flame of transformation? What if we could manifest hope and love in ways we've never imagined? Silence wrapped around her words. The air crackled with anticipation, tangible and alive. She could see the spark in people's eyes, a flicker of understanding blossoming. One by one, hands shot up, eager voices filled the air. They shared dreams of kindness spread like seeds in their village, of hearts healed through service and generosity. The energy shifted, intertwining aspirations into a divine vision. Ethan was first. "Let us create a community garden. We can grow food together and share it with those who need it most." A burst of applause followed, igniting the idea with passion. Sarah chimed in, "Yes, we could gather stories from our elders and share them with the younger generation. Bridge those gaps, create connection." Each suggestion sounded more vibrant, more alive, each utterance another thread in the beautiful tapestry they were crafting together. Mary felt tears of joy threaten to spill from her eyes. Each shared idea felt like a note in a heavenly symphony, harmonizing with purpose. Little Noah jumped up, laughter spilling from him. "And we can have fun events, games, music. Let us make everyone feel included." The crowd erupted in laughter and excitement, fueled by hope. They could be the vessels of change in their own lives, planting seeds of love, nourishing each other as spirits, growing a community where no one felt forgotten. Mary reveled in the transformation happening around her. It was intoxicating as the energy surged. An elderly woman brought forth a gentle reminder, We must not forget those who are hurting, those who are lost. We all felt darkness. The joy we cultivate is a beacon for them. A hush fell again, a solemn understanding washed over them. They could not only create light but also be the light for others. With newfound purpose wrapping around them, Mary guided the conversation toward action. Let us not just dream. Let us commit to specific steps to real change. Voices mingled in earnest discussion. Fervent plans formed like rays of sun breaking through clouds. Commitments and responsibilities blossomed among them. As ideas became plans, plans became purpose. The pastor stood, his face aglow with pride and awe at the transformative energy swirling in the air. He raised his hands to invoke a spirit of unity. Let us pray for courage to carry these visions forward, for wisdom to stay true to our heart, and for strength to embrace the journey together. As they joined hands in prayer, one could feel the intermingling of lives and hopes, hearts lifted as one. Mary felt grace wash over her. There, amidst them, lay the heart of their collective journey. After the prayer, the gathering softened into animated chatter, excitement palpable. People began to pair up, discussing how to start these initiatives, building upon each other's ideas, the air buzzing with divine potential. But in the quiet spaces of her heart, Mary still held a question. Would their connection hold strong against life's looming storms? Would they keep that spark alive long after the echoes of this night faded? She chose to trust not just in her faith, but in the spirit of their unity. As the celebration mellowed into a communion of shared laughter, the moon dipped lower, now guiding them into the realm of action. This night had transcended mere words. It had etched a promise upon their lives. Mary looked around, gazing at the faces aglow with hope, and smiled. Each one was a precious thread of the divine tapestry. They had begun to weave a story still unfolding, enriched by every voice, and no longer was she the solitary schoolteacher. She was part of something magnificent. With her heart set alight with faith, Mary knew their journey was just beginning. The horizon stretched wide open with infinite possibilities. They did not just witness miracles. They became the miracles, bearing witness to faith in action, a living manifestation of Goddess grace for all to see. The dawn awaited, ready to embrace them with new adventures. Would they rise to meet it? With a fervent heart, Mary grasped the hand of the person next to her. Together, she whispered, "Let us be the light." And as their voices soared in joyous affirmation, the night transformed into a glorious testament of unity, a new chapter ready to unfold in the endless story of love. Now here comes your moment of divine action. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss these exclusive faith stories that can change lives forever. Don't wait even one more second to hit that like button. It will help spread the magic of our miraculous journey. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts and how this story has touched your heart. True servants of God understand the importance of sharing their reactions. Finally, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel the power of faith and transformation. Let us spread this divine message together.